Hi, this is Sherry. I hope you're enjoying the conference so far. I have been amazed at the incredible speakers that we've had already. I know lots of you really loved Kelly this morning talking about productivity and how to really project manage your life, and then Jan at lunchtime sharing her 5 principles on how to be stylish and to get that visual signature right, which for lots of us I know is really, really important. And I know when I'm working in the city with women, I'm very conscious of what I'm wearing. And in the past, when I've gone to technology networking meetings, often I'm the only woman in the room. And I do like to make sure that my personal brand, that my visual signature stands out a little bit rather than just lots of grey suits. But so that was really interesting. And then, of course, this evening we've just finished listening to Julia Carter and experiences of burnout, and I wasn't really expecting to share my own personal story of burnout when I was working at a big law firm. If you're interested in a bit more detail about my personal burnout story, then that is on my website under About Sherry. I think it's on my About page. And burnout nowadays, it's such a, for women and for mothers especially, so many of us feel so overwhelmed and like we're just trying to squeeze too much into our day. And Julia's tips were really, really helpful. And I wish I'd had somebody telling me about what to do. And I think, her tip of going to more women's networks groups is really good, just getting out there and getting out and about. And I know some of you as mums are thinking, I can't fit any more into my day. But just knowing that you're not the only person who's going through that and feeling like that. So for tomorrow then, let's look ahead to tomorrow. So in the morning, if you're a single mum, then you'll love this interview with Ruth Douglas. So she tells her story of how she became a single parent. And really, as single parents, they face some of the same challenges as us, but also they face some different challenges, but also some different freedoms, which I hadn't thought about before. She was explaining how as a single parent, all the decisions are down on her, all the responsibilities on her, but also that means she doesn't have to check in with anybody else about the decisions that she makes, which is great. As a mother, as a wife, I'm always kind of checking in with my husband that the decisions I'm making are the ones that he thinks we should be making. I must admit, I usually tell him this is what we've decided rather than, but it depends on the topic of conversation. So Ruth is great, and she really does talk about some things that you can do if you are a single parent, some of the things that will kind of help you, and how she manages that challenge. And then lunchtime tomorrow, this interview was just amazing. I only recorded this one a couple of days ago with Inga Woodstra, who's a gender expert. Oh my goodness, so many insights for me personally about how I worked and how I behaved when I was in my Chicago law firm. I had always thought that my constant questions and like, why am I doing this? I thought that was because I was a person who just liked to ask lots of questions. But in fact, from what Inga is saying, that's partly because women notice the detail more. I am a very detailed person. No getting away from that, as my husband will attest. But and she talks about how women tend to be better at seeing the bigger picture, but also she gives some great tips on if you feel like you're not being heard in the workplace, because women do behave differently, we do communicate differently. So she gives some great tips on what you can do to kind of counteract the fact that the workplaces that we work in, the organisations that we work in, have been created to fit a male communication style, and we need to do more to make organisations more female centric. Isn't quite the expression that I'm looking for, but obviously we can adapt our behaviour. She also talks about whether it's nature or nurture, and that's quite an interesting concept there. And then finally tomorrow evening, Rebecca Robertson and her little baby, because her little baby was I think 3.5 months old when we recorded the interview. So Rebecca is a brilliant financial planner and works specifically with women because she wants women to have more confidence, more control over their finances. So she talks about why women tend to lack confidence with finances, the typical challenges that we face, what stops us taking control, and what are the things that we overlook or ignore. And I'm sure there's some things that that you overlook or ignore, and you'd like to carry on ignoring them. One thing interesting was that she said when it comes to investment, we have different risk profiles, and that women tend to be more risk averse. So when we do invest, our investments don't go up and down. They tend to be steady, which is better in the long run. So that's what we've got for tomorrow. I hope you're loving this conference so far. I know I'm just loving the interviews and I'm loving the feedback that I'm getting. So thank you so much for everybody who sent me emails or who's posted in the Facebook group. And you might be wondering, well, who is this woman? Why on earth is she doing this? But, I set up my own business 5 years ago, just under 5 years ago now, because I wanted a different work-life balance. And I know, I was working as global head of IT in a big city law firm. And for me, the work-life balance wasn't quite what I wanted. I got made redundant actually when I've been thinking about this decision, and I didn't quite have the confidence at that stage to set up my own business. So I carried on working for an outsourcing company, and that really, really cemented the decision for me, because I had so little flexibility in the hours that I worked, the days that I worked. Because I was the only manager in the UK, it was very tricky to try and get time off work. It wasn't difficult, it wasn't impossible, but I felt bad about it actually, because I was the only manager. And it meant I couldn't just come in late because there was a carol concert or sports day. So I set up my own business then because I wanted a different work-life balance. And when I work with women now, in my Confident Leadership program or in my Career Confidence course, what comes up time and time again as the biggest workplace challenge is work-life balance. And so that's why I'm running this conference, because I want other women. I'm not saying my work-life balance is perfect, but there are days when it's brilliant, and there are other days, like while I'm running the conference, I'm thinking, not enough hours in the day. So thank you for listening to me tonight. I'm going to go back now and just finish off getting tomorrow's interviews ready for you. And do share and let me know what you're thinking so far, what your actions have been. I know Michelle shared that listening to Kelly this morning, her 5-year-old has now been given the chore of looking after the toilet rolls, which I think is brilliant. Talk to you tomorrow. Take care.